Jordan is known for many things: his gravity-defying dunks, his iconic sneakers, and of course, his status as the greatest of the great. But there's another side to Jordan's legacy that's just as legendary: his grudges, from the coach who cut him in high school to opponents who dared to challenge him, even to teammates who got on his bad side. If you crossed MJ, you were on the list. And once you were there, you stayed there. So let's talk about the 7 players Michael Jordan hated most. And we'll start with the most obvious name: Isiah Thomas. Jordan and Isiah never clicked. Their feud wasn't about one moment. It built up over years, beginning in the late 1980s when the Detroit Pistons reigned supreme and the Bulls were still climbing. From 1988 to 1990, the Pistons eliminated Chicago from the playoffs 3 years in a row. They had a system called the Jordan Rules, designed entirely to stop one man. Isiah Thomas wasn't the one delivering the hard fouls, but as Detroit's floor general, he was the architect, and it worked up by the numbers. Isiah held the edge. In 65 matchups, he won 36, including 12 playoff victories, 2 more than Jordan ever managed against him. Few stars of that era could say they consistently got the better of MJ. Then came 1991. The Bulls finally broke through, sweeping Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals. But what should have been a symbolic passing of the torch turned ugly. With time still on the clock in Game 4, Isiah walked off the floor. No handshake, no congratulations, just a quiet exit while the Bulls celebrated. Jordan noticed, and he never forgave. Decades later, when shown the clip again during the last dance, MJ's face said it all. Time hadn't softened the grudge one famous walk-off. He said it wasn't personal, that it was a team decision, and he didn't think it was a big deal. But to Michael Jordan, it was the ultimate sign of disrespect. And MJ never forgot. The bad blood didn't end there. Fast forward to 1992, the Olympics in Barcelona. The dream team, the greatest roster of basketball talent ever assembled. Isiah Thomas had the resume. He had the championships. He absolutely deserved a spot. But what he didn't have was Jordan's approval. It's been widely reported, and even MJ himself confirmed it, that if he was suiting up for Team USA, Isiah wasn't. Jordan told reporter Jack McCallum flat out, "Rod Thorne called me. I said, Rod, I won't play if Isiah Thomas is on the team." Even though Isiah has apologized numerous times over the years, the rift never healed. And decades later, in the last dance, Jordan made sure everyone remembered exactly why. Isiah wasn't the only Piston in Jordan's crosshairs. Enter Bill Laimbeer. If Isiah was the brain of the bad boys, Laimbeer was the muscle. You didn't need slow-motion replays to spot the hits. Just keep your eyes on number 40. Laimbeer played center like he was suited up in body armor. He boxed out with elbows, set screens with forearms, and turned the paint into a war zone. If you went up for a layup, he made sure you came down with bruises. And when it was Michael Jordan attacking the rim, Laimbeer always brought a little extra. Years later, Jordan boiled down his feelings in one brutal sentence: "I hate him." And that hate carries even, of course, wasn't sorry, nor would he change his mind decades later. In one interview, when asked if he regretted walking off without shaking hands, his answer was cold and blunt: "Why would I? They beat us. We're lost. End of story. We didn't owe them anything." To him, it wasn't disrespect, it was defiance. But to Jordan, it was unforgivable. That silent walk-off wasn't just poor sportsmanship. It was the Pistons refusing to acknowledge that the Bulls had finally climbed the mountain. And Jordan never forgot who led that charge. That's why, for MJ, Bill Laimbeer was more than just a physical defender. He was the face of everything he hated about the Pistons. Toughness without respect, violence without accountability. And if Isiah Thomas represented the rivalry and strategy, he wavered from his stance, and Michael Jordan never let it go. Bill Laimbeer didn't need flashy stats or scoring titles to make his mark. His reputation came from punishing hits, followed by a cold walk away as if nothing had happened. For Jordan, those bruises left more than pain. They left a memory that still lingers. But Laimbeer wasn't the only one Jordan had strong words about. Another name he labeled as dirty was none other than Larry Bird. So, when Jordan was asked who NBA players saw as the dirtiest on the court, here's what he had to say.
Laimbeer or Larry Bird.
While Bill Laimbeer made his impact with physical play, the next name on Jordan's list attacked in a completely different way. Larry Bird didn't just play the game. He got inside Jordan's mind and refused to leave. Known for his sharp tongue as much as his shooting, Bird was a master of psychological warfare. Years later, when Jordan was asked at a camp to name the greatest trash talkers he faced during his 15-year career, he didn't hesitate. His answer came quickly: Larry Bird. Torn opponents. He told them exactly what move he was about to make, then pulled it off anyway. And the crazy part? They couldn't stop him. This wasn't coming from a player who faced light competition either. Jordan had battled Gary Payton, Reggie Miller, and the bruising bad boy Pistons. But Bird was different. His words cut deep, and his game always backed them up. Jordan respected Bird's skill without question. Bird could shoot, pass, rebound, control the tempo, and most importantly, win. But what stuck with Jordan the most wasn't just the skill. It was the relentless talk. In the mid-80s, Bird's Celtics completely on the Bulls. They swept Chicago out of the playoffs in both 1986 and 1987. Jordan put up huge scoring nights, even dropping 63 in Boston Garden, but the Bulls still walked away empty-handed. And Bird made sure Jordan heard about it every single time, even after retirement. That fire never cooled. In The Last Dance, there's a moment where Jordan spots Bird in a hallway. Without hesitation, he looks straight at him and delivers a line. That line was smooth, almost playful, with a smile on his face. But make no mistake, it wasn't just casual locker room talk. That was the kind of comment you reserve for someone who lived in your head for years. Jordan never forgot the sting of those playoff exits, and he never forgot the man who sent him packing. Bird didn't break down Jordan's body, but he definitely bruised his pride. And Bird wasn't the only sharpshooter to earn a spot on Jordan's hate list. Enter Reggie Miller. Whenever Jordan spoke about the toughest opponents of his career, the first team he mentioned was always the Detroit Pistons. But just behind them came another squad that gave him nightmares a little later on. The Indiana Pacers only clashed once in the postseason, but that single series was unforgettable. The 1998 Eastern Conference Finals stretched the distance, all 7 games. On one side, Larry Bird stood as Indiana's head coach. On the other, Michael Jordan was chasing history, aiming to lock down his second three-peat. Every matchup was a battle. The games were bruising, the tension never let up, and the smallest plays carried enormous weight. It wasn't just basketball, it was survival. And for Jordan, the memory of that war never faded.
I had no problem with the glove.
Reggie Miller was never the type to back away. He was built to irritate people, talking non-stop, bumping into defenders, selling contact, draining clutch shots, and running through more screens than anyone in the league. His release was lightning fast, and he knew exactly how to weaponize it. But what really got under Jordan's skin wasn't just Miller's skill. It was the swagger, the confidence, the way he carried himself like he belonged on Jordan's level. Even if he wasn't quite there. One story says it all. During Jordan's playing career, Reggie Miller wasn't allowed to wear Jordans, at least not on the court. Not while MJ was still active. He had to wait until after Jordan retired before lacing them up. That's how personal their rivalry became. Miller himself later joked about trash-talking Jordan as a rookie, trying to show he wasn't afraid. Jordan's response: he dropped 44 points and told Miller to never speak to him again. Still, the battles didn't end there. The Pacers dragged the Bulls to the brink in the 1998 Eastern Conference Finals, forcing a Game 7. But when it mattered most, Jordan shut the door. Chicago won at home, then went on to claim the finals in 6. Miller never toppled Jordan when it counted, but he earned something rare: Jordan's lasting hatred. And that was no easy badge to collect. But the next man on the list wasn't from the East. He wasn't part of the Pistons rivalry, and he didn't need the spotlight of trash talk. His weapon was defense. And when the biggest stage arrived, he gave Jordan more trouble than almost anyone. That man was Gary Payton. And when Payton later claimed in The Last Dance that he wore Jordan down in the 1996 finals, Jordan's reaction said it all. He just laughed.